Namaste, you're on The Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narasimhan and we are coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18. The spotlight turned towards the Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, where after the abrogation of Article 370, it was the third visit of the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. In his mega outreach, Amit Shah not only lashing out at Parivarwad or dynasty politics, saying it is the three Parivars, taking dig at the National Conference, the PDP and the Congress, saying who denied Jammu and Kashmir its due place, not just in the growth story of India, but also the natives of Jammu and Kashmir, their due rights. So he also indicated that there is serious consideration of reservations of the Pahadi community and along with the Gujars and the Bakarwals, who he openly acknowledged for their contribution. It is significant the fact that Pahadis, who are about 1 million in number in that region, have been denied for nearly 70 years their basic rights and not even recognized under the SC/ST category. The aspect that Gujars and Bakarwals were recognized under the SC/ST category was only to fill in certain positions within the Jammu and Kashmir state government, the erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state, although they never got their rights or the access to the SC Atrocities Act protection like it was in the rest of the country. So this one nation, two constitution philosophy that prevailed before the abrogation of Article 370 also denied basic rights to the natives of Jammu and Kashmir. And that is something which Home Minister Amit Shah said that his government and the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi aimed to correct and rectify. It was he was greeted to a huge amount of cheer, and ahead of his visit, before addressing this huge gathering in Rajouri, he was also there to pay his respects at Mata Vaishno Devi. Let's listen in to what Amit Shah had to say.
आपके मोदी मोदी के नारे उन लोगों को जवाब है जो कहते थे धारा 370 जाएगी तो फिर पंजाब पर आग लग जाएगी। आज की ये रैली उन लोगों को जवाब है जो कहते थे धारा 370 जाएगी तो खून की नदियां बह जाएगी। जब जब भारत पर खतरा आया, ये मेरे पहाड़ी भाई गुर्जर बकरवाल चट्टान की तरह दीवार बनकर खड़े रहे। मोदी जी ने आरक्षण के लिए 370 हटाकर रास्ता खुला कर दिया है। 370 हटने के बाद शेड्यूल ट्राइब का आरक्षण का रास्ता खुला है। और मित्रों, मैं आप लोगों को कहूंगा, जस्टिस शर्मा का कमीशन बनाया है। जस्टिस शर्मा ने अपनी सिफारिशें भेज दी है और वो सिफारिशों में मेरे पहाड़ी, बकरवाल और गुर्जर तीनों को आरक्षण की सिफारिश की। मित्रों, मैं आपको कहने आया हूं, देश के प्रधानमंत्री का बहुत बड़ा मन है। ये सिफारिशें जो भेजी है उसकी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रक्रिया समाप्त होते ही गुर्जर, बकरवाल और पहाड़ी भाइयों को आरक्षण का लाभ मिलेगा।
Nearly 56,000 crores worth of investments that are poured into Jammu and Kashmir ever since the abrogation of Article 370. He's also put out the figures of how terror incidents have come down, and there's been a massive crackdown. But what stands out is this denial of integration and also basic rights using Jammu Kashmir's own constitution under 370 and of course using 35A. This is something which Amit Shah repeatedly highlighted, and that too in front of the Pahadi community. Tushar Gupta is with us and Amit Raina also with us. Amit Raina, you have been somebody who's been talked about, who's been actively pushing for the rights of those who have their roots in Kashmir. How would you respond to the Home Minister's visit and what he said at the rally today?
What I liked about what Home Minister did today was that he visited one of the holiest Hindu shrines. He started his day with one of the holiest Hindu shrines and then went and announced uplifting a marginalized community where maximum number of people are from a different faith called Islam. And the action of this government is very clear. It says we are secular in our actions and not in the show off and notankis like other politicians do. Now, coming back to the point, see, after abrogation of Article 370, it was imperative and it was incumbent on this government uplift the sections of the societies which have been neglected for decades in Kashmir. And that includes the Pahadis, the Pahadi speaking community. It also includes the people from POJK as well as the displaced Kashmiri Hindu community. But I think they are taking steps to ensure that, one, there are benefits given to them so that there's an empowerment, both political and social and economical, as well as there's a development when the state develops in on par with rest of India, because the state has been denied development for the last 70 years under the garb of Article 370. So I think there has been a very positive move. Second, I still remember 2015 Pradhan Mantri Modi goes to Kashmir to have a rally. There were protests across Kashmir Valley. You had to put curbs, you had to put internet on block, and the rally had to be done under strict security conditions. Now today you have a home minister of this country who is having a rally where lakhs of people are attending, chanting Modi, Modi, and he will have the same rally tomorrow in Baramulla, which at one point of time was the den of terrorist movement. It is a place which gave birth to people like Sayyid Ali Gashalani, Afzal Guru. So there's been huge difference in Jammu and Kashmir pre and post 2019. And this post 2019 Kashmir is so different from what it was earlier.
There is a lot of difference, but then there are still the threats of terror that lurk. The other aspect is that the communities, a lot of the Kashmiri communities, the local tribes who have been denied their basic rights. Sumit Peer also joins us. Tushar Gupta, would you see this reference to the to giving reservation and the fact that it is under consideration to the Pahadi community as very significant? The Gujars and the Bakarwals, the Gujars have been actually asking for a separate Gujar regiment so that the areas in North Kashmir, especially Kupwara further up, there is active recruitment. The Pahadis, he made a very, very specific reference saying that from the time of Mahabharat, these hills have been chronicled and you have been here guarding the gates of Bharat. And that's the credit that he accorded to the Pahadi community, which is also received with loud cheer. But this is perhaps the first time we are also seeing tribes, groups, into ethnicities within Jammu and Kashmir which are being mentioned beyond the popular Kashmir narrative.
For 70 years, Anand, until August 5, 2019, the entire Kashmir narrative, the Jammu Kashmir narrative, was about one community governed by two parties, the Muftis and the Abdullahs. Every government job in Kashmir was about one community and one community alone. And let's not even get into the corruption that was there in the recruitment of those government jobs. Today, when Amit Shah speaks of reservations for the communities, all the communities that have been ignored for 70 years by people who claim to be representatives of progressive Kashmir, this is significant in many ways. Not just the army, if you look at the government, even if you look at block level recruitments, it's very, very important to get the local communities involved. And for 70 years, they were denied all their rights. They were denied being a stakeholder in the political developments of the state. The worst part is they were forced to accept a political reality they could not decide, which was against their interests. Now, what is happening also is that now the center government's benefits will also reach these tribal communities, most of them living in very remote areas. So you think of a Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, you think of Ayushman Bharat, you think of Jal Mission and several other center government schemes which have been instrumental in transforming rural India and UP, Bihar, and across India. They will now reach the important parts of Kashmir, the parts of Kashmir beyond Srinagar. Because for 70 years, it has all been about the Gupkar Road. Now it's about the tribals of Kashmir, the other stakeholders of Kashmir who were ignored for the longest time.
Sumit Peer, does the aspect of terror still loom? Are you worried that there is desperation on the other side with the enemy trying to derail this entire growth process? Or are you encouraged to see that the pace is now being set? 2 years of COVID also did set back, push back a lot of the initiatives. But do you believe there is a certain vigor that you are able to witness now? And despite the blasts in Udhampur, the kind of alarm that was raised with huge cache of arms and ammunition that was found, despite that, the Home Minister going there and the turnout today, is that itself a testimony to the shift in narrative?
Anandji, thank you very much for having me on your show. Sir, a picture is worth a billion words. What we are seeing is real-time videos which we are seeing from the valley. This Modi, 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 Modi chants are all real. This is by the locals on the land of Kashmir, wherein we were told that, look, nobody is with you. यहाँ तिरंगे को कंधा देने वाले 4 लोग नहीं मिलेंगे, खून की नदियां बहेगी. This was the narrative which was set. I mean, let's go to this 2-3 years back. Now, if we look at today's narrative, everything has changed. These people got served what they deserved, what they've been deprived for 70 years. Look, recently, ST Muslim from J&K was nominated to Rajya Sabha, direct nomination by the Honorable President of India. When they are seeing these things happening, when they are seeing these things, roads, buildings and all happening, and they see this wind of change, change is touching their lives. Who could be bothered about a ST Gujar in J&K? It was about 15% of the valley, controlling 65% of the seats. That is how the narrative was set. Sir, with 7% of the voting, you could be the CM of the J&K. What else do you want? Whole of Jammu will vote, whole of Ladakh will vote in valley. 7% turnout, yet you are the CM of the J&K. That is how the things were run. Now, with this thing coming out, with the kind of support we see from Honorable, Greh Mantri ji, this is the emotion. This is the people who are connected. These are not karyakartas. These are not workers. When they see the changes happening, recently we have the the picture halls opened, where the recruitment's happening here, and in Ayushman Bharat, the whole of J&K, to best of my knowledge, is entitled for this 5 lakh rupee insurance. Now the winds of change are touching their lives. And as far as the Pakistan goes, ISI goes, you are rightly, Anandji, they will be desperate. This video will send a chill down their spine. Their 35 years of work is gone down the drain, and they are not able to come back in Kashmir. And the terrorism and all, will something or other they will try to do here and there. But again, for ISI, they know that it's end game. End game. They can't do much. They have tried and failed for 35 years. Now they must go and rest on their souls and their heels. They cannot move a brick there. Today, the difference is people are with us. The people are with the Republic of India. They've seen the fruits of development. That is the game changer. Youth are with us. They want better, prosperous, safer future. They don't want Pakistan. They don't want jihad. They don't want anything like that. There might be few cases here and there, but there are many microscopic minority which needs to be eliminated by the security forces. But 99% change in the people's mindset, sir.
True, but this entire aspect of elitism, where you're saying that 15% of the population controlled 80% or the narrative, and this elitism being practiced even among the Muslims in Jammu and Kashmir, is that true, Amit Raina? Is that true that there were those who believed that they are the ones who should control, and it was 1 or 2 districts in Kashmir that wanted to hold sway over all of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh?
See, I wouldn't hesitate to name that community. It is the Kashmiri Muslim Sunni community which has been trying to dominate everything in the valley, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, whether it's resources, whether it is political power, or whether it is government job. Now, it's a simple statistics. You have 5 lakh government jobs in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The population distribution between Jammu and Kashmir is almost equal, even if I go by the census, which is disputed. But the almost 3.8 lakh jobs are with the people who reside in the valley. And in this 3.8, around 3 lakh to 3.2 lakh would be coming from one particular community. So there was clear agenda to ensure that everything is dominated by a single particular community. And so what is happening today is that those walls are being broken. It is time that people who have, if we have been saying that abrogation of Article 370 will uplift many segments which have been neglected for 70 years, then I think government needs to take action. Yes, I would agree that Pahadis taking population got a priority because their BJP being a political party has political ambitions and has vote bank in mind, and they have chosen to expedite it with a certain community because their numbers will help them in elections, because there are still many communities in Jammu and Kashmir which need upliftment, which is the refugees, which are the displaced people from Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which are the Hindus displaced from Kashmir, because Hindus from Jammu and Kashmir are still, the Hindus in Jammu and Kashmir are still expecting to be given a minority status so that they can enjoy benefits which other minorities across, and with Supreme Court paving that way, they should have expedited it. But since these communities do not have significant political vote bank, they will be acted upon slowly. But yes, Pahadi community has been a neglected community spread across both Jammu and Kashmir. This is one community which has not been bounded by the boundaries of Jammu province and Kashmir province. They are spread across the Pir Panjal range. And
Right.
they have been denied rights. So it is perfectly fine that they are given the rights. And I would request the
Right.
government, please use the same sentiment and expedite the rights of other marginalized communities also.
Yes, absolutely. And that concern remains, but perhaps it's small steps. What has happened over 7 decades cannot be undone in 3 years, and perhaps sometimes patience wears thin. And it's also about prioritizing what needs to be done first. If you have to win a popular mandate across the board, across Jammu and Kashmir, you have to win the hearts of everyone, and you have to make sure that you're going to work for everyone. And in this case, it's not just that you're going to be working only for certain sections of society. You're going to work for all of those who have been neglected or ignored and not been given their due till date under the previous disposition. Have to move on. We'll take this entire Jammu and Kashmir aspect forward later tonight on the right stand. But for the moment, there is another big development that's happened. So I'm going to request Sumit Peer, Amit Raina and Tushar Gupta also to stay on with us, because this is something which impacts us nationally, ladies and gentlemen. The Election Commission today turning around and saying, and opining on this entire Revdi politics, which the Prime Minister highlighted, saying freebies are a deterrent, freebies are a bane, freebies only will come back and hurt the economy. Nations have been destroyed because of doles and freebies, and we should refrain from it. Beyond health and education, these are two critical sectors. Beyond that, there should not be giving up unnecessary freebies to the Janta just for electoral gains without having an accountability as to how you are going to provide for it. Now what the Election Commission is saying is it's planning to float a consultation paper which proposes that political parties detail the cost of promises made ahead of the assembly or national polls, and also lay out how are they going to finance this. Where are they going to get the money for it? That's something which they will have to outline, and they will have to provide for any freebie or any promises that you make. They are also saying that the Election Commission, this is even as the freebies debate continues in the Supreme Court, the Election Commission wants political parties to elaborate on the rationale of announcing such promises. Sources within the Election Commission say that while political parties can't be stopped from making promises, the voter too has a right to make an informed choice. They can at least be made accountable for their promises and say, what are you basing this particular promise on, and can you actually deliver without hurting me? Are you playing this classic game of taking out from the left pocket and putting that money in the right pocket without actually providing for additional earnings? So this is what will allow, and the Election Commission believes that this move will allow voters to compare political parties and understand that whether the promises made can indeed be met without compromising on their current situation. It will actually make their lives better and not worse. So let's go back to our guests and ask them what they think. Tushar Gupta, do you believe this is fantastic, or this is a right move by the Election Commission, where it says go ahead and make promises, but you also say how are you going to provide for these promises and how are you going to deliver them?
Look, Anand, I respect the intent of the Election Commission that they're picking up an important topic. But I also believe that freebies is a policy issue. So at the end of the day, it's the business between the electorate and the leader, which is promising them, or the leader which, wants to usher such policies. The problem is, how do you present the numbers? Now, say I take the example of Punjab, 2.5 lakh crore worth of debt, and still Arvind Kejriwal has the audacity to go there and say, we'll give 1,000 rupees to every unemployed person every month. Now, how do you prove such a number? Because you do not have the population, you do not have the economic scale, you do not have the state's numbers, and the politician parties, this is my fear, would try to forge their entire economic argument just to make a point. So while I respect the intent of the Election Commission, at the end of the day, the electorate has to be the loudest.
No, if they cannot prove the numbers and if they cannot back it, then they don't make that promise. Then you don't stand there and you are not allowed to go out and say, I will give you 1,000 rupees free.
Anand, what Arvind Kejriwal has always done in Delhi, he said, no, we have room to give you free water, we have room to give you free electricity. In Punjab, he did the same. He did not cite the debt once. He said, oh, we have room to give you an unemployment allowance. that's the
Correct,
problem.
but the moment you
Exaggerate the
start
state
asking
revenue
this
to
question,
make-
Tushar Gupta, then you get into the nitty-gritties. You realize that Delhi had a surplus budget because the Delhi government does not pay the bills of the police and also the government officials and their pensions. They do not, and that forms bulk of your cost. A large part of the cost is actually borne by the center for Delhi, and that's why the revenue surplus. And that also the CNAG report says in the last 3 years, those surpluses have actually dwindled because the amount of subsidy of freebies without added revenues has only gone up. So this is how you make leaders accountable. If your state has a debt of 2.5 lakh crore, you first say how are you going to service that debt? How are you going to make the state debt free before you promise anything more? That's the question you will have to ask if you work on the ECI's recommendation. Let me just get Amit Raina's thought. Amit Raina, agree, disagree with the ECI, or do you believe no, you cannot stop netas from making promises? If the Janta gets fooled, then so be it. It's their loss. Because the Janta also turns around and votes for those who promise things free, na?
See, the problem with freebies is that one, on a physical front, they are a harakiri that we can discuss separately. The point is that they are commitments which are not governed, are not enforceable. You make a commitment on a manifesto and you cannot go to any court and saying that I was committed and promised this and get it enforced. So anyone can make any commitment. I remember, I think in one of the elections in Chennai, a gentleman went and said, I will get you the gigantic glaciers to keep Chennai cool. He was trying to make a point, but you can go and claim anything. So, what also the freebies reflect, the problem with freebies is that the freebies have become the easy way route for the governments to not deliver what they are supposed to deliver. If you are a welfare state, you have basic responsibilities. You have basic responsibilities in many sectors: education, health, transportation. What you do is you do not work on that. You find an easy way out and go start delivering freebies. So while you can go and give in Punjab 300 units free, there is no power for those 300 units. So unfortunately, these freebies have become tools to bribe customers, the poor voters, the poor voters. Some with limited understanding of economics, some with the hope that this leader at least will be saying the truth, goes and votes. And this is cheating. This is misleading the voter. And Election Commission has all the right to at least ask the political party, please tell us how are you going to deliver? What is the mathematics behind it? So I think it is a fair call, and the Election Commission needs to be, in fact, given more power to act in case they find that more than censure that they can act against the political parties in case they find that the ridiculous claims are being made.
But why only hold the political parties accountable and say how are you going to get the money? Because Sumit Peer, we as a nation want freebies. Because wherever we go and whatever we go out to get, we first question is free mein kya milega? So if you are a nation who believes and if you are a voter group who believes that everything has to be free, गाड़ी खरीदने जाओ तो उसके साथ फ्री में क्या दे रहे हो, बैग कुछ भी खरीदने जाओ, शॉप में जाओ तो सर डिस्काउंट क्या दे रहे हो, फ्री में क्या मिलेगा, ये फ्री है तो मैं वो ले लेता हूँ. We have a mindset like that. And that is what netas exploit. Netas only look at this aspect and say, oh, this guy is going to... See, if there was an overwhelming mandate that was given to a political party that said free electricity, it's the voter who gave it, right?
Correct. Anandji, the problem here is, first the thing is, there's nothing called a free lunch on this, sir. Somebody has to pay. Somebody is paying for what you get free. That's point number one. Point number two is this is a very welcome move because now these parties will be questioned. We have spoken about Punjab, I think 3.5 lakh crore debt, and where are you going to find this money? Now look at Delhi, what happened. In the peak of COVID, Kejriwal Sahab said, I'll be building hospitals, I'll be building schools, Modi ji ne oxygen nahi diya, Modi ji ne ye nahi diya, Modi ji ne ye nahi diya. After COVID, how many hospitals, how many schools have you built, how many ICU beds have you had? Answer is zero. Because all the money, what you are doing, it's a classical play. You are using the capital expenditure to do subsidizing. So you will not change the balance. You are not doing any development. Whatever money is earmarked for development and infrastructure, you are using that money and giving that as free bijli pani. My question is, if you are living in a Sainik farm, if you are living in a Vasant Vihar, Vasant Kuch or a Friends colony, why should you get 300 units of power free? Your koti is worth 10, 20, 50 crores. You have 5 cars string where the insurance you might be paying is more than 10, 20 lakhs a year. So why do such people need this 300 bijli units free? Subsidies and all
Sumit Peer, ask that question to the farmers of Punjab who are getting all the electricity and water free. They have acres and acres of land. None of their cars are upward of are lesser than 30-40 lakhs. Now there are people who still want free electricity. Do you think any political party will have the gumption to cut down the electricity subsidy and the water subsidy to these farmers? Will they survive?
Sir, the point here is that farming, if you keep aside, because that has been traditionally a very sensitive sector. But I'm talking of cotis and farmers.
No. Why should it be kept aside? You please tell me.
In the long run, yes.
Why should only 8% of the population pay taxes, and those taxes should shoulder the burden of the remaining 40%, 50% of the earning population of the country? Or the remaining 92% of the country. No, I am asking you if somebody can pay cash down for a Mercedes-Benz but wants electricity free, and that person will not pay taxes. But another person who's struggling to make ends meet and also pay EMIs to buy a motorbike has to pay taxes. What kind of logic is this?
This is not fair.
Anand, you raise an important point about the 8% population paying taxes. You know what else the Election Commission should also do within this consultation paper? Also ask the political parties who the beneficiaries will be of their freebies. Because as the panelist Sumit ji pointed out very correctly, there is no point giving someone free electricity and free water who lives on a Barakhramba road or a Lodi road. So one thing the Election Commission should also ask the political parties is, what is their rationale when they decide the freebie and the beneficiaries along with that? So that the people who do not deserve it in the first place, like the farmers of Punjab, mind you, should not get the freebies.
Should not. I mean, this is not fair.
No. I'm saying, no, the small farmer, the medium farmer who does not have land, who is actually working, those who need the electricity free, those who need the water free, they should get it. But those who are earning more than 15 lakh rupees per annum, shouldn't they also pay taxes just like anybody else who's earning a service person who's earning 15, 20 lakhs per annum?
These are people, Anand in Punjab, the farmers are not even paying their taxes.
No, I'm not. I am saying
more than 1 crore every year.
Either you bring everybody under the tax bracket and then declare freebies, or you rig the state debt free and then talk freebies. Otherwise, don't talk freebies at all. Make declaring any freebie illegal to somebody who does not want it. Amit Rana,
look at this. As someone rightly pointed out, that a man who drives an 8 crore Mercedes goes and votes for a certain political party in Delhi saying power free mein mil raha hai. So there is a freebie culture, and there is saying that yatha raja tatha praja. Because your raja is like that, praja behaves also like that. Now the problem with freebie culture is that Arvind Kejriwal has gone and announced free medical treatment to people of Delhi. Please visit GB Pant. 4 people are lying on the same bed. What they have done is they have announced a freebie, and that is the easier way out. But you are not investing on actually what you are supposed to invest. You are a welfare state. You have to go and invest in healthcare, and the parameters and the benchmark of healthcare in Delhi, unfortunately, the national capital is a mohalla clinic. A dirty mohalla clinic is the parameter. So the freebies today are being used as an escape route for non-performance. So Election Commission, I think the Supreme Court of India should step in now, saying the manifestos are a legal binding document, are enforceable, and you can be taken to court for not. This is a contract between you and the voter, because you are committing something to him and you need to deliver. And then let's see how these political parties come out with freebies when it becomes possible. So there are lacunas in the entire system. One has to work it out, because when you come and say what is the differentiation between subsidy, welfare, how will you differentiate that this is the welfare, this is the freebie? Right. So there has to be working done on the same. So I think
there has to be a lot of mind has to be applied. Lot of mind has to be applied. Who's the beneficiary? Who's paying for it? And just those who are there is a larger debate where those who are earning at the same level, should they not be taxed at the same level? Why should there be that one particular entire segment of society does not get taxed at all, despite their earnings being more than who are actually paying taxes? So there is a big difference. When you draw the lines between haves and have-nots, then all the haves should pay taxes. That is something, one aspect, and then the freebies should be given to the have-nots. The haves should not get the freebies. So these are also aspects which come into play. We'll take this forward, but for the moment I have to wind up. Tushar Gupta, Amit Rana, and also Sumit Peer. Thank you very much for joining us here on The Nation at 5. Short break, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us.